to turn the lights down and crank the music up. Let's get this Thursday night party started.
Yo, what's up, Columbus? This your boy, R.O. Hutchie.
Yo, it's your boy, Carnage Body Bag.
Yo, check Dig, Jig, Cicero on your speakers. What's up? This is Jessdoit from Power 107.5, 106.3.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, London Elixir, your favorite music producer.
Wow, what's happening, man? It's the original Hot Boy, Young Turk, the legend. And right now, you're listening to the Breaking Ground Radio.
This is the one and only T-Quest, and you're from Connecticut. When I hit Columbus, I always stop by Breaking Grounds Radio. Hit them up at breakinground.radio@gmail.com for features, interviews, breaking music, special appearances, and more.
You can run, but you can't hide.
All right. It's time to turn the lights down and crank the music up. Let's get this Thursday night party started.
Yo, what's up, Columbus? This your boy, R.O. Hutchie.
Yo, it's your boy, Carnage Body Bag.
Yo, check Dig, Jig, Cicero on your speakers. What's up? This is Jessdoit from Power 107.5, 106.3.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, London Elixir, your favorite music producer.
Wow, what's happening, man? It's the original Hot Boy, Young Turk, the legend. And right now, you're listening to the Breaking Ground Radio.
This is the one and only T-Quest, and you're from Connecticut. When I hit Columbus, I always stop by Breaking Grounds Radio. Hit them up at breakinground.radio@gmail.com for features, interviews, breaking music, special appearances, and more.
You can run, but you can't hide.
All right.
Yo, what up? What's going on, man? It's Breaking Ground Radio, a local and mainstream collab. You already know what it is. It's Thursday, it's 6 p.m. We are all in the building. It's your man, DJ swmpthing, man. Hope everybody had a great weekend, ready for that weekend. As always,
Yes.
I got my team with me, the squadron. Tiffany L, Jessdoit. What's up, ladies?
Hey.
What's popping? How are we? Wonderful. Okay, kind of, sort of. All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cold.
Huh?
Getting over a cold.
Are you still
Yeah. So it's just a lot going on.
Oh man.
Trying to keep my my voice right.
Right. I guess that means you ain't gonna be talking too much today.
I'm being a little softer today.
Oh Lord. How was Wordplay Wednesdays, Tiffany?
It was great.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Anybody stand out to you as far as poets or spoken word, all that good stuff?
Well, this was only actually the second time because it's not every Wednesday, it's every other Wednesday. So this was only the second time they've done it. So word's still getting out there, but George Echo, he has such a following. He's actually had a couple of open mic shows, spoken word open mic shows. Yeah, went down at the Pelican Room for a little bit, and then he also did one in Cleveland. So he has experience building crowds. So his, you know how you make your little Facebook event and, 150 people say, they interested, and they go but it was just like 10, but it was still good. Like, it didn't feel like lame. It didn't feel like, oh, wow, this was a letdown. It felt like, oh, it's cool to get, out of the house, have a little drink, listen to some good word. I had no idea he was a freak like he was. He did like some nasty ass poetry. Wow. It was great. And he was talking about a couple of his books, and a couple people got up. The crew as spectators, they are some clowns for sure. One of them got up and was like, yeah, I didn't prepare nothing, but I'm gonna do a little comedy or whatever. So I posted that video inside the Wordplay Wednesdays page. And then the other owner of Spectators did like some freestyle rapping or whatever. So it was really interesting. It was a good time. We was clowning. We really did. It was, and Dami was on the ones and twos. So So he had everybody feeling the music. So it was a good time.
Good. Yeah, I pulled up that Bobby Couch's little Styling Out event that he's going to start to have. It's kind of a playoff of Wilding Out that we see on TV and stuff. So all the different, the teams had their different colors and they had their own shirt. But of course, when Bobby Couch does an event, I mean, he's gonna go all out. So I wasn't surprised that they were decked out like they were. It was at Avalon upstairs, this nice little intimate crowd, nothing too big. It was the first one. So, but for the first one, it had a lot of people. Starstruck was in the building. Blayton was there. Me and Bardo talked for a little while. So that was nice. Had a couple of drinks. Shout out to Tierra, was the one who actually got me out the house to go. She was like, come on, check
That's
this
so
out.
funny because I was going to call you and tell you to come to Wordplay Wednesdays, but I was like, I ain't going to make that man come all the way out this way.
Yeah, it was, trust me, Tiara had a hard time getting me out to go to that too, but she was like, I'll come scoop you up, you got to worry about driving, so we went over there and it was cool.
So then you really partied then, you had to drive.
No, not really. I mean, we literally, it started at 9. I think we got there. It started at 8. I'm sorry. We got there about 8:45. Stayed till 10, maybe a few minutes after. I was home before 11 o'clock. So it wasn't really that bad at all. And she had to work too. So, we both kind of made it an early night. But of course, I was able to it was enough time to still fill the cup up a few times. So you got to do that.
I know you did. I know you did.
Got to do that. Recap real quick on Saturday, Jess.
Saturday was dope.
Yeah.
It was dope.
All the good stuff. All
the good stuff was we had like 17 artists come out. It was amazing. It was a great vibe. Like the vibe was so beautiful. Battle of the Indies at the old Troubadour Club. I definitely want to shout everyone who came out. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah.
We went until 12:30. Could have gone longer.
Right.
So were there a couple of people who didn't get to get on?
Yeah, there were a few people who didn't get to go, but it's okay because I want to shout Deuce out of Blayton.
No doubt.
He stepped in and basically everyone who didn't get to go this weekend, he offered a spot at his house party on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
So make sure you guys come out to that. You do need to RSVP to Blayton to get the address. We'll be there.
So, yeah, definitely shout out to Deuce for that. I saw that in the comments. I thought that was a great idea.
And he was on it. He reached out to me can you make sure you send me everyone's name? And so he's really, really dope for that. I mean, it was a great time though. I appreciate everyone who came out.
Yeah. Shout out to B Square and everybody that pulled up. When I got there after the wedding, it was towards the end, which I didn't know at that time, but obviously it was towards the end. But,
no one knew.
Right, no one knew. But yeah, I mean, it looked like it was running. Then I saw some pictures from the people that posted it, and it did for a while.
Oh yeah,
it had a nice little crowd.
Oh, it was packed. And I mean, the vibe was so incredible, and it was nice because we had someone come down. Jay Smitty, shout out to him, came down from Springfield, and I think it was like one of his first times getting to interact with that crowd. We had Trey Narcos, what he goes by. That was like his first time getting to interact with that crowd. So just getting people introduced to like the Columbus music scene and how everyone's really family and it's calm and it's just a beautiful creative space. So introducing them to that was really cool.
Awesome. That's what's up. Well, today, of course, we got a couple guests. We got the homegirl Shamir, who should be pulling up here in a second. She's a female Columbus artist here, and she's been really kind of getting her wave rolling in the last month or so, a couple of months. She's been at a lot of shows, showing her face in a lot of different places. And I know she's got a new project that's coming out, so her movement is moving forward towards that. We also got, as Tiffany mentioned earlier, we got the homie George from Wordplay Wednesdays. That's going to be pulling up later on this evening. Speaking of Wordplay Wednesdays, we got the DJ at that event right here, the homeboy Dominic Styles, here in the building right now, just chilling. I mean, his body's here, but his spirit's somewhere else. Yeah, so we got that going on. And then VA Visions is supposed to pop up too because they're on their way to Springfield. Speaking of Springfield, they're on their way to Springfield tomorrow for their first, what they're calling a pit stop or hip hop pit stop.
I saw that.
Yeah. So that should be cool. I'm gonna go out there with them and then kind of DJ for them over there. I mean, Springfield's less than an hour away, so if anybody's got nothing else to do, definitely try to pull up over there and then shoot right back for that event. It's at I forget the name of the place, but I never heard of it because I said Springfield. But we'll get him to talk a little bit more about that as we roll along. Jessica, you got some spots that people should hit up this weekend later on. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. It's a lot going on this weekend.
As always, it definitely is. We're going to get into the who's next real quick. The homeboy, Damon Wright. Song's called I'm a Buckeye. I did play this last week, but we didn't highlight it. So we definitely highlighted this week. Song's called I'm a Buckeye. So shout out So shout out to everybody in the Scarlet and Gray, rocking, getting ready for the weekend, all that good stuff. We'll be back, Breaking Ground Radio. We'll touch a little bit on trending topics here when we get back. Don't go nowhere.
That's all I can say. Cut my veins, I bleed scarlet and gray. On the lane, have around the corner from the horseshoe. Rock from days around me, get a portion. Woody with the king, Urban the apprentice. Got another trust, even though he left a blemish. It's been a long time, but I'm back with a vengeance. Hang on, stupid, we about to put that in. I'm always feeling some type of way. When to put on anything that says Ohio State. And now the time I'm always looking for how to play. As soon as they roll up, I spill that over. They yell O-H-I-L-I-O. Then fight the road, strike the ties and cold. But you know about the best dance. And we moonwalk on them like the best dance. Take away my strike, but you would never take away my fight. It's blocked out for life. It's the other very end of the night. Until I die, I'm a born guy. I'ma rep my set, calling it great till the day I rest. Stay check, it's the other very end of the night. Until I die, I'm a born guy. I'm a Buckeye, you already know. There's a certain type of swagger when you come from the O. Yeah, we get a lot of hate, but that's just because deep down inside they really wanna be one of us. They really wanna be the big TMG. They love it when we get the skin off of Michigan. We left the capital, we don't got a protein. Buckeye is nothing, I ain't talking about protein. We be a whole team, get away so clean. Know how we blow steam, we both Wolverines. And then we march the ace level since you got some great dates. You're drowning your own trouble, I'm on first street starter, always you alumnus. Love the city so much, I named my son Columbus. And that right there shows you that it's humongous. Welcome to Buckeye City, I'll be the guy on this tour. Take away my strike, but you will never take away my fight. It's Buckeye for life, it's the other area of the night. Until I die, I'm a Buckeye. I'ma rep my set, calling it great till the day I rest. Stay check, it's the other area of the night. Until I die, I'm a Buckeye. I'm a Buckeye, and I ain't gotta prove it. See, I live it and I breathe it. It ain't only in my music, you can laugh if you want it, but I don't find it amusing. See, that's a who they got is confused. People can run the table without a shot in the boat and do it again next year. Look at them now, they all saying that I schedule so they don't play nobody. It's hard watch, we go to battle with anybody. We make it look like the teams that we play a week. Copy lace on cleats the same every week. We got show the pads on, make sure the helmet's tight. And enough with all the talking, let's get right. The urban legend, Urban Meyer in the cap squad. Any given Saturday, we beat up in your backyard. We don't care what your rankings or what the Pope say. Step on the field and it's a rap. It's a goal. Take away my strike, but you will never take away my fight. It's Buckeye for life. It's the other area of the night. Until I die, I'm a Buckeye. I'ma rep my set, calling it great till the day I rest. Stay check, it's the other area of the night. Until I die, I'm a Buckeye.
Breaking Ground Radio, man. I'm a Buckeye. Shout out to the homie Damon Wright, man. With that one, big homage to the Scarlet and Gray going down, man. So make sure you play that. It'll be a nice little pregame song going in. Right here on Breaking Ground Radio, man. We're local and mainstream collabs, man. DJ swmpthing back at it. Tiffany L, Jessdoit, of course, in the building as well. What are we looking like on trending topics today, Tiff?
We got a couple different things going on. You know, some good things, lots of bad things.
Lots of bad things.
I mean, you know, some beloved people out here. If you haven't heard, Kanye went up to the White House again to talk to his homie Trump.
To his homie Trump.
Right, pretty much. And said something about, to the effect of, he feels like Superman when he wears his MAGA hat. Yep, you heard me say it. The AMAs were this weekend, so we're going to be talking about the big winners that took home some good trophies. Who wore the outfits bomb. Fabulous is in some trouble. You know, if you remember, Fabulous, I guess, had gotten in trouble for, you know, putting hands on his girlfriend, Emily B. Well, he just got hit with 4 felonies for that. Yeah. Apparently, he was indicted on 1 account of domestic violence with significant bodily injury, 2 counts of threatening to kill, and 1 count of possession of a weapon, which was a pair of scissors. So she claims that he hit her in the face several times and knocked her front teeth out. And yeah, so that's where it stands currently. So it's not looking good for your boy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. And this was, did he already go to court? Or
he went to court. I mean, I guess he's just waiting to find out, like, you know, what are those 4 felonies look like,
got you.
they about to turn into. It'll be a damn shame for him to, I don't know, be in jail. But, you know, it's looking like a lot of people will be there, including Jim Jones, who also was charged with 5 felonies for his previous arrest that he had back in June. Reportedly, his car got stopped, and they found guns, marijuana, Oxycontin, Percocet, some vape. I don't even know why they mentioned this, but some vape cartridges. I'm guessing that they must have had marijuana or hemp oil. They must not have been tobacco, since they was mentioned. He got released out on bail, which wasn't too bad, but now they're trying to look and see how long the brother's gonna be in jail, because this doesn't sound like something he can kick. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so some losses.
And Fabulous been kind of out of it. I mean, when the last time we actually heard him put out anything recently? It's been a hot minute.
I'll be honest, the last thing I remember that was of significance to me was when he was with Lil Mo and made I'm sorry.
He had a few little features.
Okay.
I might not be that far behind, because the last major thing I was hearing was when him and Dream had a couple of collabs.
Okay. We got Google this. Oh no.
He didn't come on no project.
Freddie vs. Jason.
Fabulous? I don't remember that.
Him and Jadakiss, they project together.
Oh, I do remember that now that you say that. But I didn't do anything.
He did well.
Not well enough.
I mean, if you give me a song, I might could tell you if I know it, but y'all know how.
We know how you operate, you know.
You know, Dommy didn't play it on 107. I probably didn't hear it. So, yeah.
You don't play a lot of stuff on 107. So.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I'm looking, and I don't know any of these names of these songs. I don't.
Looking it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to okay. I know the name, then I can sing the lyrics. Nope, don't know.
Well, I mean, like you said, you know, kind of out in rotation in you know, main radio. Definitely been a while. Like whether, you know, with the project or with anything that kind of came out through like the mixtape era, you know, you might not have heard, but it's definitely been a minute since the main, you know, a dope single on the top 40 or something like that. It's been a hell of a minute for sure. But
that's too bad.
And almost the same. Well, no, Jim Jones was kind of. I think he came out with something recently.
Jim Jones is TV.
Jim Jones?
Yeah, he's been on TV, so.
Oh, the reality show?
Reality shows.
Yeah, him and Chrissy.
Yeah,
that's true. Man, what else?
So sticking with the track of not going well. So a chick, her name is Sunday Carter, super pretty. She is from, if y'all watch the Basketball Wives show, it's Basketball Wives LA. I guess she accused the man of drugging and raping her, and then I guess he leaked the video on Instagram. Come to find out, this dude is like a comedian from Philly named Michi, and so they went to court about it. And basically, all the charges are misdemeanors. But I don't know how that comes up to a misdemeanor. We're talking about drug rape, and then also, I guess he's also being charged with revenge porn. I guess is the idea of, you have somebody's images and then you are mad at them, so you put it out. And so she said, no one should ever be taken advantage of, whether it's revenge porn or someone slipping a substance in your drink. Unfortunately, I experienced this. I pressed charges with hopes that justice will prevail, but we know how the justice system is going in our favor these days, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's a black man, so we'll see what happens.
Damn.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. There's some unfortunate news for sure. Jesus Christ.
That's how trending topics be. I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Sometimes the topics are good.
Every trending topic ain't the best ones.
Unfortunately. I mean, if we sit up here and tell y'all a whole bunch of, happy stories, one, they wouldn't be that many. Two, it wouldn't be real. This is not a bad story. This one's cool. Takeoff, the Migos showed up to the AMAs or whatever, but Takeoff wasn't there. I guess it's reported that he is recording his own solo album. So that'll be interesting. I can be honest with you and tell you that I don't know which one is which. Quavo, Offset, and Takeoff. So if I hear them on a record, I'm not like, oh, that's Quavo. Oh, that's Offset. So I have no idea. But that's why he was missing in action. Because I wondered too, when they talked about, all the people who were at the AMAs, they mentioned like 2 of the Migos were there. So this is why he was not there. So
interesting.
They did not say they're breaking up or anything like that.
Right.
But they all just want to also come out and release their own solo projects because I guess Quavo, just released his. So, they're all going to take a stab at it.
Yeah. Well, that's what's up. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what groups do. Yeah. I mean, what group everywhere that doesn't wind up, somebody doesn't wind up doing a solo, or the whole group winds up doing a solo album or something like that.
So speaking of group, I was, listening to my favorite morning show, which is The Breakfast Club, and they were interviewing Teddy Riley this morning.
Okay.
And all I knew of Teddy Riley, and this is me being completely honest, was him in Blackstreet. And I knew he was like an icon before then, but I didn't know. That was what I was listening to music when Blackstreet was happening.
Right.
Anywho, so then he was talking about the trials and tribulations of Guy, and what had went down, and basically the 2 brothers that he was in the group with or whatever, they are still trying to, I guess basically they're trying to come back and put Guy back out there. So Teddy Riley said, I guess he had went back to the guys and said, hey, can we get this going again? So sometimes when they go out on tour, he performs, and sometimes I guess they get into it still and they don't. So it's like kind of crazy that like grown ass men, like we're still having conflicts, like as far as like tours. And he said it could be as simple as like, he's going out every day giving his all on the stage and everybody else is not doing that. But he tried to say it like as politically correct as possible. Right. But he went into his past of like his money troubles and what had happened. And basically he said when he left Guy, he left a lot of money on the table. He said 20 to 30 million. They had also like done some investments with some guy who like he had bought like real estate from, and like a house that he was actually like legit living in, and then come to find out like the dude had been selling the same deed over and over and over. So he didn't even technically own his house, but he lost millions in that too. And so basically there was a point where he legit had no money, and he was like leaving Guy, and he was going to try to go home, take care of his family or whatever, and he was stuck at the airport, and he did not have any money at all to even get on a flight. And so somebody he just happened to know like was there and like handed him a card and was like, dude, it's all good, like you know, And then you started hearing those stories about like, oh, you know, what's going on with Teddy? He must be, you know, fucking up his money. And then, so that was basically him coming back out and being like, nah, that's not what happened. So it was definitely interesting. I was sad I had to get out of the car. Yeah. Want work. But,
yeah, well, I mean, it
was juicy.
Yeah, there's tons of stuff.
That sounds like it's definitely enough that it can be a book. So I would love to hear some more about that.
That's why I like I'm a fan of Unsung for that reason.
Yeah.
For you know, you got these stars that you only see one side of the life a lot of times, but you have no idea some of the turmoil or some of the disappointment or addiction or whatever that they go through during their career. You know, and then you look at them and okay, yeah, you know, they are human. You know what I mean? Because they get some of them are in so much limelight. You know, you think they could do no wrong or whatever, and they bleed just like us. You know what I mean? So money can be taken away from them just like anybody else. So that's crazy. I just got word that Shamira's actually walking up right now, so we're gonna be chopping it up with her real soon. We're gonna take a quick break, get into the homeboy, Mr. Harris. The song is called "You Heard Me." He was there Saturday, right, Jessica? But you say he didn't get a chance to perform.
No, he didn't get to go.
I realized he was from Cincinnati. I don't think he drove that night. I think he was already in town.
Yeah, he was in town already.
But still, I was like, man.
Let me tell you. Let's not even talk about it.
Okay, we're not. You heard me right here. We'll be back, man. Breaking Ground Radio.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, the young niggas love me. They love me. You know why they love me? They think like, and even after I play basketball, they smell it. Nigga, we the same. We come up the same corner. We ain't had much. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta hustle. They gotta go hard, man. You just gotta play games. Niggas got it. I'm gonna get it. Trust me. I don't get mine. Who am I? I'm the GOAT. They acknowledge she was attacked. I decided this is do or die. Not for so alive. Heard you rap. I feel bad for you. You told me that you lied. Because I killed you on this first. Since the suicide. Think it's time to forget all my flaws and show them who you are. You a boss. Making ass of myself and work it out. Oh my gosh. I ain't even know I had it, but I got it. I'm performing at my haters and my ex-baby parties. My career's taking off. I'm about to go. I heard you was taking shots from me and I'm just getting drunk. So said I'm feeling not that nice, but if my soul gets a pop. And she asking if I feel she like fingers in the butt. Don't recall me in the love. Can't remember who to call. I ain't grow up on the block, but still got family posting up. Got your wife drunk and love. She's single with a solo cup. I speak my mind, I keep the button. I'm about to roll it up. Listen, now I'm thinking.
We in a fucking hustle, we in a grind. Everybody ain't 50 Cent, everybody ain't Puff, everybody ain't Jay-Z. You gotta stick with a nigga, grind with a nigga. You gotta do your job. Whatever your record is, I'm gonna call man. Whatever record you give me, I'm gonna get played. Cause my tongue won't move that quick. I'm gonna get the shit done with the niggas like it, love it, hate it, whatever. Niggas ain't focused. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't focused.
She said she see us getting married. I don't like the way that look. Like your husband in the future. Best believe my message off. Same damn time I talk to real sisters. That's family ties. This is six, but I'm about to cross that Canada line. I never played where they raised me lately. That's where they hate me, baby. More than 91 ahead of my time. Babies, baby. Losing my mind, but I'll come back and win. Don't say I'm crazy. Telling every woman white lies. You can't say I'm racist. I said some harsh things. I mean them all. If I could take them back, I would just to repeat them all. I had some friends that did me wrong. The rest ain't see the fly. One day I traveled so much that it's an easy car. I'm not perfect. My name's Derek. I raised the bar, look at the bar. I'm a great parent. Confidence sky high. About to get my money, that's all. Dog about to cash out like last car.
You know, not only you're talking, you're rapping about these people. Your house is 10 times the size of their house. You know, that would make me dislike me if I was on the other side. You know, also, I had haters out there, and it's always like the wherever you're from, you would get hated.
Look, if you sleeping on me, get buried in pajamas when I'm feeling so gifted. I'm living like I'm Santa Dog, I'm eating, you ain't shit. Fill up your toilet bowl with dinner, I already lost my mind. It's kinda hard to mind my manners, got a slim chance. But I'ma try it cause a booty thing. She in front, I'm finna trail her like a movie clip. I break bread and make a sandwich out of booty meat. That's my baby and my face is like a booth to see. She said I'm hung, I need to write a suicidal note. I'm with the team trying to hit a lick. never low. I live broke, dream rich, and I act wealthy. Side and a man don't know who's which till her ass melting. Drinks on me like the coffee table. Dripping and I can't stop. I never seen parking spaces. Find a beat jacket, but I don't ride coattails. Way too many bars, I'll never post bail. I don't think you heard me. Hey. I said, I don't think you heard
Hey. Oh, you say you're not? Oh, I got excited for that.
But I like yacht parties.
Right.
What are you talking about?
I ain't going on boat.
That's, you know what? I am halfway mad because the boats, boy. Breaking Ground Radio, man, with local and mainstream collab, man. We back at it. You already know we're changing the indie culture in a major way. It's man DJ Swamp Thing, my girls, my peoples, Tiffany Hill, just do it in the building. Check. It's the remix. And we have our first guest in the building, man. Man, and I actually got a funny story to tell you because I bet you don't know it, but or you didn't realize. But this young lady, man, been watching for a while, man. Definitely, the movement is real. She's got a lot of support around her. Her vibe is definitely dope, man. She's been in a lot of shows recently. The fire is definitely lit under her movement that I've seen in the last month or so. I'm sure it's been moving on a lot more than that. But, ladies and gentlemen, the mic is up for Shamir. Am I even saying that right? Shamir Griffin?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell you.
I appreciate you for checking. Not a lot of people do.
Right. So what's good? Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know your schedule was kind of crazy today.
Yeah, I gotta get to school.
Gotta get to the OMS.
Yes.
The OMS don't be playing, man.
Nah, but I'm almost done. I'm almost there at graduation. So
okay, when you graduate?
November 9th. That's
congratulations.
Almost there. Thank you. It's been a trip. I still don't realize, I don't understand how I made it this far, but I made it. So I'm gonna keep going. I promised my daughter that I was gonna graduate the same year she did. So
hey,
we're gonna make it shake.
Make a family affair out of it.
Yep.
So just so to tell the people who've been living under a rock just a little bit about you, something that maybe we don't know yet.
Well, I'm Shamir Griffin. Go by S Griff Gang Entertainment. That's a lot of people might know me by that because I rep Griff Gang to the death of me. Griff Gang is me, and I am Griff Gang. Yeah, like I said, I'm a mom. I'm a singer, dancer, writer. I do pretty much any and everything. I started rapping in 2015, and that's because I was surrounded by a whole bunch of rappers, and I'm like, I can do this too. I can do this too. Not just that, but at that time in the city, I know too many female rappers that were actually dope. That was actually talking about something. So and that was actually doing what they were talking about. So it was like, well, let me just dabble in here real quick and see how they react to me. Right. But from day one coming into Columbus industry, coming to the streets of Columbus and, dealing with the artists, they've showed me nothing but love and support, It actually surprised me, It was one of those things you don't believe in yourself enough until you actually put it out there, Right. So I had to take that chance, take that risk and put myself out there. And it was really Golden Wave who first really connected me to the Columbus music industry. And got me booked for my first event, from Golden Wave, linking up with Cardo at Blayton's and, linking up with Cassius Keys. Shout out to them because they really got me booked for a lot of events and helped me network with a lot of people to be where I am here today. If it wasn't for them, I probably would still be under my little shell, honestly, but I'm here and I ain't going nowhere now.
That's real.
So
that's real. That's real.
I can't imagine you having a shell now. Performances are
just a little bit. I just go on the stage and I leave my all. You only got one chance and you never know who's in the crowd. So it's like give it your all every chance you get. Even if my voice is cutting out, I'm still try to sing with everything I can. If I can't hit that note right now because I'm a little sick, I'm gonna rap it. We're gonna make it work regardless. But the show must go on. Period. Yeah,
it definitely must go on. So the quick little trivia that I have for you, and it was when I actually first was in the same place you were in. When Kid Cash was over there by the train tracks.
Yep.
And I was a DJ over there. Do you
Oh my God. They get back like, whoa.
I mean, we didn't get a chance to chop it, but that's how I remember. That's how I remember. I said, okay, yeah. That was the first time I saw it. And then
you almost got killed by those trains.
We did trying to get things done. Did it ever get finished?
No, we got the video finished, but somebody broke into his car at the school.
Right.
So yeah,
okay,
that's upsetting because that was about to be a really dope visual.
Yeah, I think so too. So talk about with Columbus. Columbus is a big area, but it's small when you come to as it pertains to music and culture and everything like that. So talk about what are you seeing, both disliking and liking about the female artists in general? Because I know they're out there, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're not really in the type of limelight that they should be. Yeah. So what are you seeing now that you've been in there for a while from female artists?
Well, it's really about support. The problem is in Columbus, my biggest thing female wise is that we don't support each other enough. We don't put each other on enough. Like when I was here the other day for Philip Bufford's party, his birthday party, he introduced me to an artist named Yasmin Good. Ever since I met her, I've been listening to her music, voting for her on the WTMH Awards, you know what I mean? Just pushing her any way, shape, or form because I'm supporting my sister, you feel me? Like, at the end of the day, we got males that support each other. Why can't females come together? I feel like that's really the biggest downfall. And but speaking on since I started doing it in 2015, really, it's changed a lot. The support has changed a lot. We got a long way to go, but it's really support-wise, networking. That's another thing because a lot of people I've realized that I've gotten in contact with recently, a lot of new artists, they don't know how to network. They don't know who to go to network. We don't have enough networking events in Columbus, you know what I mean? And even with some of the events that are thrown for networking, when you go, it's not really much networking as opposed to drinking, chilling, you know what I mean? Like, if we're going to do business, we're going to do business. Right. We got to know there's a time and a place for everything. Right. If you're serious about your brand, your career, your music, you feel me? You're going to come into the situation like, I'm not here to turn up with y'all. I'm here to connect so I can get some beats. I'm here to sit down and create a relationship so we can work together in the future. You know what I mean? Like, we got to get to the point where, we're not just using people when they're beneficial to us. We need to start creating these relationships, networking, and really like helping each other out. Yeah. Like that's the problem with Columbus. That's the reason why we haven't kicked that door down yet. Yeah. We don't support each other enough. As soon as that happens, as soon as we all get on the same wave and we all decide to take over by storm, there ain't nothing. Can't nobody stop us. I
don't. Oh, were you going to say something?
No, those are good points because we do have a lot of parties. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of parties, but not a lot of, like you're saying, network. We're going to have a networking event. Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll get that together. Mm-hmm. That is, there's a solution. I appreciate you for not having just a problem, but having a solution to it.
My dad always told me, it don't matter. A problem is a problem, but it don't make sense to harbor over this problem if you don't have a solution. Yeah. Always find a solution. You're just wasting your time if you just want to harp over the problems, Right. Yeah. So now we got solutions. Now we just got to put them into play. That's all it comes down to, putting in the work to get it done,
Yeah, I think we talk about this all the time. It's funny because the answers always come around to the lack of support. Mm-hmm. Although recently I've heard that there is a lot of support. Yeah, it's just kind of how you look at it, or how. Or how it is that you're moving. Mm-hmm. But I do think that there's a little more of the not support, and I think maybe one of the reasons why is because nobody is allowing anybody to really take the lead to push, like you said, push that door down.
Yeah.
You know, to really break free from Columbus. Because everybody wants to be that person.
Yeah.
So when it looks like there's somebody who might be on an extreme big wave or something like that, then I mean the support is still there, but it only goes so far because they don't want that person to be the one to break the door down. I want to be the one to break the door down.
Right.
So go ahead and do your thing. Just make sure when you get to that door, you let me go through.
Right. I was gonna say, for me, it's like you go ahead and break that door down. I'm gonna hold it open after you go through. You feel me? Now I'm gonna let everybody. We're gonna let everybody through. You feel me? Everybody that's deserving of this going through this door, unlocking these keys. You feel me? Like they gonna go through, but you know you gotta work for it. I don't expect people to look at me as the savior of the city. I don't want people to look at me like, oh, she gonna blow soon. She about to do all this stuff. You know, it's based on I'm just waiting on God. You feel me? I'm waiting on His time. It's His. He gonna let me know when it's my time. You know, and until then, I'm gonna just work my butt off as much as I can, as hard as I can. Continue to write these songs. Continue to record. Continue to do these shows. Try to promote my brand as much as I can. And when it's my time, it's my time. But I'm going to support every single person that's coming up. You feel me? I'm going to support every single person who, not even just because I feel like they about to kick the door down, just because I support what you're doing. I rock with your vibe. I rock with your movement. You know what I mean? It takes a bad mother effort to 100% follow their dreams, to give up on, to say, you know what, I'm not doing this normal 9 to 5 every day type of thing. I'm not about to be a slave to the man and make money for their company. I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to do this for my people. I'm going to do this for the culture. You feel me? It takes somebody with guts, with some huge cojones to do that. So I support that 100%. All that other stuff though, like it just comes down to that. For like Cassius, I feel like he about to kick some doors down. He already has kicked a lot of doors down.
I definitely think he's top 5 for sure.
100%.
Like for sure.
That one right there.
But even you saying that, you know, is just a testament to who you are. Because again, you know, although the support is there, you know, how you just going to try and push your movement as well as let somebody else know about somebody else's movement as well. You know, and I think that's big of people who do that, you know, because there's enough room. There really is enough room. You know, and I know, you know, that it's you know, mostly male dominated, but there's a lot of females out here who doing some stuff that's sometimes better than these dudes. I ain't gonna front. I've heard a lot of artists in my little tenure DJing and being at these shows, and my jaw has dropped a few times over some, and I'm not surprised. If anything, I'm just more proud. Like, man, that sister's over there killing it.
It's a great.
So when you're at which leads me to my next question. When you're at a show, whether you're doing a show or not, you know, how is your feeling? How do you respond to another female artist on stage killing it, or maybe not so much? You know, what do you feel inclined to do?
All right, so for like with females on stage killing it, okay, I'm a geek for dope females. I'm a geek for female artists in general, you know, because like I said, it takes a lot of courage to get up there and put everything that you put into from your heart out there on the stage. People don't understand that. Like audiences don't understand how much pressure that is for somebody to take what they have been writing in private for however long and expose it to the world, you know? So it's like, it's one of those things like, man, that's dope. Like, and then especially being an artist for me, seeing how people take everything, everybody takes things differently. Everybody approaches things differently, beats differently. So how I would approach the song, they doing it completely different. It's like, oh man, that's some fire. You feel me? And even on the tip of somebody who say there's a show and there's an artist who's not a bad singer, but she's not as strong as she could be, you know, all she needs is a little practice, or she just needs to get more comfortable on the stage, because that's a real thing for singers. People don't understand. It's hard to be a singer out here. Okay, you got to make sure your voice is okay 24/7, and when it's not, and you got to sing through it, you know, and it's easier said than done. So it's like one of those things. I support them 100%. I'm the girl that's in the crowd, even if I don't know them and I see ain't nobody clapping for them, ain't nobody cheering for them, or even if I see they're uncomfortable, because what I used to do to comfort myself when I'm singing is my hand right over my belly. Anytime I see that, I know what's up. I can tell when somebody's nervous. So you hear me in the crowd like, bro, you better sing, girl. You better break it down, girl. I'm Big Mama. I support everybody. I want everybody, because it's like you're putting your all on the stage. People don't understand that. It could be that one person, one time, they go onto the stage, they decide to, you know what, I've been doing poetry for 7 years in my closet, but I want to do this. All of my friends are doing spoken word, so let me go out there and do this. And they go out there and do it, and you got people laughing at them, people walking away while they performing, people just ignoring them completely. That takes that feeling away from them. That takes, you know what I mean, everything away from them. That makes people feel like, you know what, let me just hang up that. That's why people quit their dreams, you know. All we need is a little support.
That's all. You said a mouthful. I definitely don't disagree with you for sure. Definitely don't agree for sure. So what are you working on now? You in the studio? You getting ready to hit the road, or you got another shows coming up? Like, what's popping?
Okay, so like I said, I graduated from the Higher Media School on the 9th of November. After that, I plan to go full force with this music stuff. I've been in the studio, I've been writing, and I actually am in a project, the process, thank you. I'm in the process of working on my project. I just storyboarded everything, got it all written down. I have, 5 out of 16 songs recorded right now. So I'm just trying to check everything off the list. With you, we got some stuff coming up. I don't want to speak too much on it, but, you know, I'm excited to be working with you. And then, I got a couple of people hitting me up for some shows, but I'm just right now trying to solidify what I got going on to make sure that, you know, when it's time, I'm ready to go. And also, I'm in the process of getting Griff Gang merchandise started as well. So anytime we have a show, we're going to have everything. We're going to have anything and everything you need. Y'all got it. And then it's coming first, you know?
That's dope. I definitely think, you know, you're doing it the right way. I think, you know, and people really sleep on, you know, the education that is needed for this. Even though it's a craft or it's considered an art, there's still education that needs to be taught about how to do things. So, you know, like I said, I went to OMS, you know, graduated in 2016, and because of that, I was able to do more of what I'm doing now because I got the confidence. But I only got the confidence because I got the education. So, you know, that really does help in what it is you're doing. Plus, I was able to meet a whole bunch of dope people along the process and network with so many different people that I generally would not have gotten to meet one-on-one.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, you got Power 107.5 walks in and out of that school all the time. All the time. You know what I mean? So who can, you know, how many places can you go to where you can have close access to those guys? I mean, they're public figures for real. You know, they're public figures in the city, so people know who they are. So, you know, those are the first that can help. I mean, you just left. We just had Dominic Styles in here, who's, you know, we're fortunate to not only know what he does, but, you know, he's on all of our phone lists. You know, we just hit him up, and he's willing to give information from his 20 plus years of doing what he's been doing in the media industry. So, you know, that's why having those EPKs is important. Put it in hands like that guy. You know what I mean? Who can do more than I can. You know what I mean? But I want to get into, and then we'll let you go because I know, like I said, I know you got to get out of here. So we'll talk about this first. You know, where can people find your music? How can you be reached on social media? All that good stuff.
You can follow me on all social medias at official Shamir Griffin. And that's official, normally spelled Shamir, SHAMERE GRIFFIN. I follow back too, you know. If you're an artist, send me music. If you got clothing brands, send me those. I promote anybody and everybody. I support the hustle, you feel me? So, send it away. SoundCloud.com/Shamir Griffin. You can find everything on there. I'm working to get on Spotify, iTunes, all that other stuff. But right now it's just on SoundCloud. I know a lot of people been asking me where One Time is. It's not there.
Man, I swear, that's what I was.
I know. My bad. Everybody been at my neck about it, and I'm working on it. I'm getting that done soon. So just understand, it will be finished before the end of this year, and will be available for you guys. But yep, everything is everything. Y'all can follow me on that. And again, I follow back. And yeah.
So what? All right. So we got 5 here. Which one do you want us to run? You did say Blackbird, run it up, right? Or run it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I have a couple of different things. Like I said, I rap and sing, but I also do hooks for people. So it's like I got a song on there called Mamba Through the Six, I believe. And there's what is that song? It's like a Love Lost song.
Yep, we got Love Lost on here.
Yeah, we got a couple of different things on there.
Is Love Lost, Till Dusk, Don't Fade Away, Blackbird and Running Up.
So Blackbird and Running Up is me. Those are all me. Blackbird is an acapella song that I did. And that was actually the first song that I wrote after my mother passed away in 2016. She passed away. I had a show. What show was that? Film House that I was closing for. Her name is May Paulson. She asked me to perform. And it was that same week that my mom passed away. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, y'all, but I did it. And it was like one of those things, like it was an amazing feeling. So yeah, Blackbird was the first song that I recorded and dropped after that. And that's gonna be one of my favorite songs forever. So yeah.
Well, I think, if it's all right, maybe we'll go ahead and run that one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Get that going. So hold on, because I'm gonna make sure I got this up so we can post it on the Breakground page. So I want you to officially announce the song. And Tiffany's live over there too, so that's perfect.
Speaking of Kid Cash, that was up.
God,
he said,
yeah. And I remember him putting that together and saying your name, but I didn't know you yet, so I didn't put 2 and 2 together because he was running through them all.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, cool. So I only knew Bowtie who pulled up with the camera and stuff, and him, and. Yeah, I know it took us a while to get it together, but we got it together eventually.
Yeah, but he dope. Shout out to Kid Cash. He the truth.
We gonna get him back down here. He ain't doing nothing. You ain't doing nothing in Detroit.
Yeah, come on back this way, man.
Come on back, man. All right, so go ahead and officially announce your joint.
Alrighty. Well, again, I'm Shamir Griffin, and you are going to be listening to Blackbird by me a cappella. So vibe with us.
Just in case you weren't loud enough, that was Blackbird. We about to play Blackbird from Shamir Griffin. Got the phone lines going. It might wind up being Kid Cash.
Don't offer something and don't. I feel broken. I feel lost. I feel emptied. Double crossed. The day my mother died, I lost myself. I lost my faith, my sanity, but up my health. I try to stay strong for my daughter, my melody. She gets the world. She motivates me. I won't shed a tear. Don't wanna show mommy's broken side. No time for weaknesses. That's why I'll never cry. And all my life, I had to be strong for my family. Grinding now, 'cause I got mouths to feed. Won't give up, and I'll never let my daughter down. That's why I'm up all night, 'cause I'm afraid to drown. And I've tried to pray, but I lost my faith. And I've tried to pray, 'cause I need to find my way. Lord, get me straight.
Breaking Ground Radio.
What's going on, player? This is Philip Bufford. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, Mr. Buffer? How are you, sir?
Excellent, excellent.
Oh, that's his. What's
I was just gonna give a shout out to Shamir Griffin.
Yeah, your student we just heard.
Right.
Oh man, we'll go ahead. She can hear you.
Are we live? Are we live on air?
Yep. Go right ahead.
Sure are.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, want to give a shout out to Shamir Griffin, who's making it happen out there. We are in class right now. We didn't know she was going to be live on air, so we decided to just call and say what's up. So go ahead and say what's up real quick.
Hey, what's up? Shout out to you, Shamira.
Good looks. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all so much.
That's what happens when you're in media school. You see everything.
Facts.
Right.
All right. Congratulations on your success. Don't forget you got a presentation to me next week. That's what happens when Philip Buffett is your instructor.
Yes, sir. One of the best instructors.
All right. I want to holler at y'all. Y'all make sure y'all listen to Breaking Ground Radio every Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. They rock it. They make it happen.
Appreciate it.
Make sure y'all get in contact with these two people because, hey, they provide the platform. You need to make sure your voice is heard.
No doubt.
Congratulations, everybody.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Yep. See you guys soon.
So, yeah.
Dope. That was dope.
Well, now you ain't got to lie about where you was at. Everybody
Jot your excuse note right here.
Right.
That's Swamp song.
Right.
Hey, I know y'all still hear me. I better get lab hours first. Give me some lab
this
hours.
needs to go towards my grade. That happened. Nah, that's real, man. Well, yeah. The rest of the song played over the internet and over YouTube while we were talking to Philip, but and we're going to play the rest here later on. We know you got to get out of here, but we appreciate you stopping by, in the midst of you having class. Go ahead, T.
Actually, I got a couple questions.
Yeah, shit. Go ahead.
She said she was going to make time. Since
now we
already know that she's not.
Right. Now you got it. Now you good. You can take your time now.
Now that she's not already on time. Okay, so a couple questions I had for you. Being a female artist and everything going on with the Me Too movement, how does that, if it does in any way, affect your art, your music, your plans, your thoughts on, what you can do with your craft when so many people are telling women that it doesn't matter what you have to say, we don't need to hear your story. And, we saw with the Brett Kavanaugh situation that we went ahead and hired him anyway.
Right.
Because that seems to make sense, despite the fact that hundreds of thousands of people were down protesting his ability to even be nominated, let alone to be appointed. So
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
good question.
I'm one of those. Yes, it is. It is.
I feel like it filters so much into everybody's life, and we don't really stop to think about. And sometimes I get really emotional thinking, like, what world do I live in right now?
Yeah.
These things are really legit happening to people, and we're just like, oh, another day in the Trump world, like that we're living, and just like we're all counting down this time and hoping that. I mean, at this point, I'm like, is he going to? Make a new law that says he's president forever, or are we gonna be okay with that? Because I feel like he's making all kinds of laws that make no fucking sense, and we seem to be sitting back and being cool with it. Or not cool with it, but nothing's being done.
But yeah. The problem is a lot of people aren't, they don't want to vote. I understand though, because it's like one of those things for me, I felt like I have to choose between the two of the less evils. You know, that's one of the problems. And then it's like, you know, even when you do vote, even when like them petitioning, trying to get Kavanaugh out, you know, it's like our voice doesn't matter. That's pretty much what they're telling us. So like in my music, I'm one of them, excuse my French, fuck the man, fuck the system, fuck 12, fuck all that. You feel me? I'm one of those women where it's like, we got a voice, we got something to say, so we're going to say it, and you're going to hear us. Whether you want to or not, the message is going to be received. Yeah. It's time for it to stop. It's time for us to stand up, because obviously what has been happening now, you know, in the past, trying to go take things into the law, give it to the law to handle, it doesn't get handled unless it's a black man, unless it's somebody that's viewed as a target or a threat. You know what I mean? Nothing gets handled. And a lot of the stuff that women go through, like, you know, rape cases or sexual abuse, even abuse in the homes, you feel me, that gets swept under the rug, or it's like, oh, well, she's over exaggerating, or, you know what I mean? We don't have validity in what we're saying. Nothing that we say holds weight, you know what I mean? Which is upsetting, but it's unfortunate because this is the world that we live in. This is what they allow. So like in my music, it's really like girl power. It's really like one of those things on the tip of, we don't need a male to tell us what to do. We don't need you to tell me, oh, you can't do this because you're a female, you skinny, you little, you feel me? Like somebody told me that I shouldn't be rapping because I'm a girl. And I'm like, fuck, what you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? There's Queen Latifah. Can we go back to MC Light? Can we take it back to the old days where some of these females were spitting harder than these men out here and still are today? Like, come on, Nicki Minaj be crapping on a lot of the males in the industry. People don't like her, that's fine, but you cannot take away her bars. You cannot take away her voice. You feel me? Like, so it's one of those things, like, we for me, it's like I just keep pushing it. I just keep, and everything I try to create, it's always going to be something along the lines of girls' empowerment. Like, I just wrote a song called Queen, so that females, it's like an anthem for females to know, like, you are a queen. Every single day you wake up, you are beautiful in every shape and form you are. You know what I mean? You are strong. Like, before my daughter goes to school every day, daily affirmations. You are strong. You are smart. You are beautiful. You are a queen. You will take over this world one day. You are going to have a great day. You know what I mean? Daily put this stuff into your head so that you know this going out into against the world. You know, my dad did that for me. So because of that, it put me on this pedestal where it's like, I'm a queen. Can't nothing you say, do, or nothing offend me. Can't nothing you say, you could go ahead and say, well, you a woman and you can't. But baby, I'm a queen. So you gonna hear what I gotta say, peasant. That's how I operate. So it's really like, for me, I go the aggressive route with it. Like, dog, oh, you got something to say? Well, let me tell you what I gotta say too. Like the other day, somebody was at Waffle House talking about the fact that women come from a men's rib. Like, pretty much women come from men. And then another guy chimed in like, yeah, woman, you can't say woman without a man. I mean, without saying man. And we like, you idiot. Woman. Okay, we create life. Okay, so and physics, let's just talk about physics. Okay, we both got the same amount of ribs. So how did I come from your rib? Explain that to me. If I'm giving birth, you feel me? Yeah. Explain that to me. Mm-hmm. You don't hit me with no get out of here with all that.
To bring up a scripture and then you flip it on them and be like, well, what do you think about this one? That was the one I had mentioned. Genesis 3:7.
Nah, we're going to talk about the whole right. Like, if we want to bring it, I love that though. When somebody brings in the Bible and tries to use that as their crutch, because you know people take the Bible and use it to their defense. Yeah. Everybody perceives it differently. That's what books are. You're supposed to perceive it how you perceive it, but trying to force that opinion on somebody else is foul. You feel me? Like dude saying now, I'm like, you were talking about that, but you got tattoos, you got your ears pierced, you got your hair cut. You know, like come on now. If you're gonna talk about the Bible, let's really talk about it. Come on now, like y'all gotta stop contradicting yourself. Y'all want to be a man, so be a man. In the same breath, y'all talking about y'all don't want to take care of y'all's kids and y'all want to take care of this, but in the Bible, but y'all don't want to go here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate bringing those conversations up. I'll go back and forth with you, but I really hate doing it because
I love it.
It's like one of those things. Like, I love having these. So when I get into it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick every point. Just see, like by the end of that conversation, he just walked out. He was done. He was like, you know,
that's why my water was done.
No, you wrong. Like,
blueberries.
I think he said something along the lines of like biology. It's just in biology. It's not biological for a woman to come from a man. And he was like, ain't no biology, ain't no none of that. We like, all right, peace. Like, you got it, G. Yeah, you got it.
What kind of what artists do you feel like you look up to in this industry or have looked up to in the past that have affected the way that you view art, and keeping with the same thoughts that your father have put in your head and the positive affirmations of you are a queen? Like, who inspires you to continue to make that kind of music?
Nina Simone, Lauryn Hill, Sade, Alicia Keys. Because Alicia Keys has always been big on women, you know.
She got me through some rough times in college.
She got me through some rough times I didn't even know I was having, you know. I swear to God, I thought I was going through the worst breakups in my life.
You don't even know. I'm good. Like, that's fine. You missing out. Like, yes.
Chilling with my braids, looking out the window, crying, singing her song. Like, oh.
Did you know about Yeah. I see some people bringing it back. I was like,
oh yeah.
Maybe that Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
And I remember why I hated it because it's all in your face.
Yes. But Nina Simone is the biggest one though.
Now, do you feel like you have to straddle your sexuality in some way? Because on the one hand, you're very pretty and
I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. But sex sells, and especially in a music industry, when we're talking about females and we're talking about especially R&B, despite anything you could be talking about, like that's what everybody wants to see. How cute is she gonna be in this outfit when she performs? But at the same time, it's a good push for getting new exposure to your music.
Right.
How do you feel like you plan to deal with it now?
I've been battling with this since 2015 because it's like, I don't know if y'all can tell by my voice, I'm kind of a tomboy. Like I've always been a tomboy, but like I'm the best way to describe it is I'm a bougie chick that love to wear heels sometimes. Like that's really what it comes down to. I love, because I've had to answer it. Like I've had to answer it because people didn't understand. Like, why you be wearing boyfriend jeans and boxers one day and then you wear the dress and heels the next day? Because I feel like it. Because I can. Because that's me. That's who I am. You know, I played for the Southside Seminoles with my little brother. You know, football wise. So it's like going from that to gymnastics, to track, to everything is like this in life. I'm a flipper. I can go back and forth with everything. I feel comfortable expressing myself in the way I dress. So it's one of them things, like since I came into this industry, it's been hard for me because I don't want to be known as the girl with her titties out all the time, or the girl that always got some skin showing, or gotta have her little booty cheeks out or something like that. I don't want to be known for that. I want you to hear what I gotta say. I want you to see my presence and understand that, oh, she got some she about to say something, whether I have on a t-shirt and some baggy jeans, or I have on a dress or a little bralette and some sneakers or whatever, you know what I mean? It's one of them things. It's hard. I'm still trying to battle with that. I'm trying to make it work for me because, like I said, I feel like people don't take you serious enough when you start to dress however. Like, you know, me being in, what was it, the other day? I wore a t-shirt with, it was like a cutoff t-shirt in the front, a little shorter in the front, longer in the back. You know, it was one of those things. And somebody said something along the lines of, you always got your stuff out when you performing. And I'm like, and is there a problem? I mean, no, I'm just saying, if you was my girl, well, I'm not. And that does not, I don't care how you feel, right? You know, I'm going to perform in what I want to perform in. Nice. And then you got to think about it, like, on that stage, it's hot. it's hot.
Yeah.
So like being on stage in a t-shirt and pants, by the first song is done, I'll be wanting to throw the shirt off because you got to take into account the lights, the air quality difference. Like especially if you're on a stage that's up above everybody and the venue is not air conditioned, you're gonna have a hard time breathing. I get up there and I sweat before I even start my song. So it's like one of those things. Of course, I want to be comfortable and wear a bralette or something, but then you always got to think about how people feel, like how people view you, like what Amber Rose be talking about. Just because I got a little cleavage out, I'm a slut. I'm this, I'm that. So it's like one of the things that I don't know how to really play. I'm still trying to figure out myself.
A woman's burden in general.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like some things it is going to be what it is.
Because they're like, you got too big of a butt, you can't wear certain stuff. You got too big of boobs, you can't wear it. Okay, well, I'm a twig. What else can I do? All right, like, I don't know how to make y'all happy. So at this point, it's like, I don't do stuff to please nobody. It's for me. It makes me comfortable. If you see me out with a bra on, a bra and some pants, understand that I was hot that day and I'm comfortable. So keep it pushing. Right. It is what it is.
No doubt, man. No questions, too. That was a really good question. The person was definitely lit a fire on it, ass for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm glad she answered that. Yeah. I'm glad she answered that. That's what we want. Real quick, man. I don't want to put him on the spot, man, but I want to definitely give a shout out to the homie Logic back there, because every time she's doing something, man, he's right there, and that's a blessing to see, man. So I just want to give you respect. You know what I mean? You know what I mean for that. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, we definitely need a lot more of that from both sides. You know, if your people out here doing something, man, you know, go out and support. It means a lot. It means a lot. It means a really lot. Not just to have friends, you know, people that's in the culture, but family too. You know, even if it's just an uncle or aunt, it don't have to always be boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, or husband. It could be an uncle, aunt, brother, sister. You know, just somebody's from the same bloodline that shows support, man. It's gonna take them to a whole nother plateau. Trust me. Yeah. But man, we appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate y'all for having me. Again, shout out social media, all that stuff again, how they can follow you and all the good stuff. And we're actually going to play, I'm actually going to play Run It Up as you guys are exiting. So go ahead.
Yep. It's your girl, S. Griff, aka Shamir. Thank you again for tuning in, listening to me, vibing with me, rocking with me. Y'all can follow me on all social medias at official Shamir Griffin. I follow back Snapchat SGriff2013. Just hit me up. We can link, do music, network, anything. You need anything from anything. Hit me up and I will reciprocate everything. So peace and love and blessings.
Here we go.
Same to you.
Yeah, definitely. Same to you, man. We're going to play Run It Up. We're going to see if we can get a picture with it before she head out. So we'll play Run It Up. I'll play one more. And then when we come back, we got the homie, George, who just walked in the building. We're going to be chopping it in with him next, man. So it's ending up being a nice little evening, man. Y'all keep it rocking with us. Breaking Ground Radio. Hey.
It's 2016 in this bitch, you be shutting up shit. Go to wave in this home, no fucks to give. If you ain't fucking with the wave, bitch, drama slump. Don't get ate by the sharks with your stupid ass. It's the movement that we on, and it's only begun. The tide crazy, rip and roll like this shit is fun. If you feeling brave, I think you try to hold the high, cause it's form up on that ass. Then we'll do with lie, and we'll talk with guns, cause that shit is found. We gotta talk it on the back, cause that man is done. You really think that you are gonna get your slide? Your son, just was down for our niggas and my bitches. We on run it up, run your fucking pockets up. If you feel like I'm the way, then I suggest you go to run. This that way game on my A game, always pay that. Fuck what all you tricks say. Get that mula andale, get the mula andale, get the mula andale. Ooh yeah, get the mula andale. Fuck what all you tricks say. Get the mula andale. bitch. I got 2 bands in my wallet now. Then you say a word and I'm gonna smack you in the mouth. I keep the rope on my hip, I'm rolling through traffic. I be cleaning up the shit and I stay with the body back. So what you need? Got the Molly in the court, got the coke for the beats, dog food for the kids, all the verses for the teens. Hit the burner on 10. I'm taking over shit like I'm the motherfucking queen. It's Lady Wave on the stand, but you ain't know that I understand. Your girl be dabbling and jigging all up on the beat. And if you don't want to fight the way they can't see me, you know they run up his life and throw that leg in the stick. All my niggas are starving. Don't ever eat. The loyalty from my bitches is solid, no shake getting. If you feel some type of way about my family, you bitches, you don't want none of this shit. And I ain't talking about that league, nigga. Jumping up, coming down, and I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Fuck it up, fuck it up. So your bucket sets up. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jumping up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Fuck it up, all that fucking blood up. Jump it up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jump it up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Jump it up, coming down, then I dab you, G. Fuck it up, all that fucking blood up. Ripped out when I'm up the shit, y'all. These niggas and bitches think they untouchable. Like I'm really about to lost the I peace until I feel disrespected, then I lose control. You fuck with the boat, you will get the house. You fuck with the boat, you will get the house. Shit, all my niggas is ready. All my bitches is same. Trust me when I say, you will never stop us from getting paid. You will never stop us from making bank. You will never stop us from getting paid. You will never stop us from making bank. You will never stop us from getting paid. Wait.
Life been driving me crazy. Got to think straight here lately. And when you come around, things start to turn around.
Can't forget the feeling when you fill me up. Always and forever. It don't get as real as us. We got some time and I build trust us ain't so real as much. So when I hurt you now, those wounds don't really heal as much. Play it slip too, that's my issue. I be off the bench. Sometimes I take the cake because somebody offers it. But I can't have it and eat it, even with all of it. Has my name on it like my birthday, it's called a gift. Can't call it quits. I spend too much on this. I'm stuck between us because I'm loving it. Watch how the budget flips. The one who's loving him cause his talent is moving is who he's found in a row with. But you was down before music. Ain't it crazy? I work hard on writing songs. With love I'm blazing. Can I live up as Jay-Z? Tired of sleeping on the couch. Girl, I paid for this house. Invite me
yes,
up.
It's true. Yes, it's true. Sometimes we could be reversed. But I got you. You have my we live. I've been driving me crazy. Got to think straight here lately. Yeah, when you come around, things start to turn around.
Always love you since I saw you in the hallways. There's nobody else I'd rather call, babe. Put it in your car, don't drop the ball, babe. Please don't ever hesitate to call me. Ain't no bad time for you at all, babe. I clear the schedule, well, you better know it. Girl, apologize if I ain't always show it. Can't take forever for granted. How the hell would we manage? And I'm taking you serious. curious, he was taking advantage. I've been thinking forever, can't see a play you ain't in. Cause you match my fly, let me lay you on in. Make you feel like the greatest, still be here in the morning. Know that I could be the beach, wouldn't we California? I'm on your mind, well, girl, pick up that telephone in. You on my mind now, rather you pull up where I live.
Yes, it's true. Yes, it's true. Sometimes we sometimes we could be what we were. But I got you. You have my love, we live. I've been driving me crazy, got to think straight here lately. And when you come around, things start to turn around.
Never been one to believe in forever, but I always got you as long as we got each other. There's no limit to what we can rise to. Trials and tribulations, stay patient, cause it's a virtue. Everybody has bad days, but you've got to learn to push through to get to that clear view of those clear blue skies, pretty brown eyes. You gotta take a leap of faith if you wish to fly. Elevate your mind, stay focused on your mission. Don't miss your blessing, trying to keep up with someone else's vision. See, I used to be that girl with so much inhibition. Then you came along and turned all that doubt into ambition. No more wishing, now I'm dream chasing. No more playing, now I'm here to take it. Aiming for greatness, and with grace I'll be amazing. You see the good in me, and I bring out the best in you. One hell of a combination, yeah, we have this in two. Life ain't nothing but a gamble, so what we got to lose? Put your all into me, and I'll put mine into you.
It's true, yes, it's true. Sometimes we could be what we were. But I got you. You have my love, we live. I've been driving me crazy, all the things right here lately. Yeah, when you come around, things start to turn around.
Breaking Ground Radio, your local blah. I'm getting my blah blah blah. Let's try this again.
That's what it's called.
Let's try this again. Breaking Ground Radio.
Word.
We're a local and mainstream collab.
That's true.
I am DJ swmpthing.
You
At least
are.
I thought. I hope I am. So we back, man. Shout out again to Shamir Griffin. Definitely a dope individual. I have a whole new respect for her. Shout out to her and Logic. Jessdoit still here. Tiffany's still here. As a matter of fact, we got our next guest here. Tiffany, take it away.
All right, we have Mr. George Echo Lee here in the building. What's up?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Good,
I appreciate it.
Just
Yes,
launched Wordplay Wednesdays. It's happening at Spectators Lounge every other Wednesday.
Yes.
Yesterday I went out. It was dope. We had a good time, great laughs.
Yeah.
Thoroughly entertained. We had the people from Spectators even got on the mic, so that was a trip.
Yeah.
So I
Hilarious.
see that coming, man.
Right. The owners
They know I
chimed
was
in.
part. They was like, shit, like, if you ain't gonna step to the mic, we sure will.
Right.
So
They did it. They
ready to
stepped up.
party, yeah.
Right.
It was a good time. So how did that all come about?
No doubt.
The latest open mic, why that spot? Who'd you talk to? What's your goal?
All right. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for having me. That's what's up. Y'all always doing y'all thing. Just beautiful. Basically, that came about. I've always wanted to do another open mic. You know, I used to do open mics in Cleveland, started with a crew called Chief Rocker back in the early 2000s, group named Noose in the early late 90s. Used to host open mics, had my own spot for a little bit. So then once I moved here, you know, got in the poetry scene, but really didn't see hosting. You know, I got the family and everything, got old. You know, ain't had that energy.
Sleepy.
Right. Sleepy, you know, in the bed by 9:30. But you know, the talent here is too phenomenal to not have some sort of consistent showcase. So I started kicking it to the nest. Big ups to JG, all of them cats, man. They Sirius was the first one to welcome me in with open arms when I got to Columbus, because we knew a lot of mutual folks through Chief Rocker. So once the scene seemed to kind of die down a little bit, I missed it. So I'm like, you know what? Why can't I? It's time for me to main host somewhere. I've been in this game for 20-something years. So I was looking at this one spot that didn't quite work out. So Dami, I know Dami because my fiance went to school with him down at Wilberforce. So I got to befriend him really good moving here. So he knew I was looking for a spot. He was like, yo, man, it's these cats. They just opened this spot. Well, he actually let me know about it before it even opened. He had the word on it, like spectators. Man, they doing it big. It's a nice spot. I'm like, okay, you got to, hook me up with them. So me and my fiance went to their grand opening. It was beautiful. It's a hidden gem. So part of my passion, aside from just spoken word and wanting to provide a showcase for the local talent, is also I want to see these brothers come up because this spot is too phenomenal. Just the feng shui of it, if I can say that. The way, I went in there, we was at the grand opening, how open it is. The stage is in the perfect spot, the bar is way in the back. I'm used to hosting, I've hosted spots where the bar was in the middle and, respect for the poets, come on, y'all,
Right.
all of that.
Right.
Just the bar is strategically placed in the back, the stage is up front, the seating seems kind of infinite. There's no columns, nothing is in the way. I'm like, this is perfect. So I'm like, man, you got to set us up a meeting. So set up a meeting with the owners, and they was like, yeah, they really wanted me to do it every week. I'm like, well, let's start every other week first. So that's how I got linked up with them. And like I told them, I want to see them win, and they want to see me win. So it's a perfect partnership.
Good. Now, do you think that every other weekend, this was something I thought about yesterday, is going to impact people coming through because they have to remember, is this week or is it next week?
Yeah, I've always felt that was kind of tricky. Spots that, like you got those spots every third Tuesday. Right. So you at your calendar like, right. Stuff, there were spots in Cleveland every fourth Friday, So in my opinion, just from being in the spoken word scene for so long, if that spot really touches you and if it's real memorable, you'll remember. There's spots I used to go to that was that every third Tuesday, every other, but I was always there and it was packed after a while. But my goal, honestly, after a while, is to possibly go weekly. But this was all about a testing ground. Let's do every other first and see how this goes. And I ain't gonna even front. The every other week right now is because I have my son the off week.
I keep up with your schedule just because my kid is doing the same thing. Right. And so I'm always like, oh, he probably got his baby.
Let's keep it real. So the weeks I'm like, okay, I'll do it the week I don't have Justin. That'll work.
That makes sense. That way you're still a family man, but
exactly.
you also are doing what you need to do creatively for yourself. Exactly. Now, how would you like to see your spot set itself apart from some of the other spoken word venues? I mean, I don't know about so many. I know about a couple. I know there's one, the Pelican Room. Yes. I don't know how frequent it is or how regular it is or how whatever.
Yeah, shout out to Wale. That's it used to be every week. I actually just found out yesterday it's now just once a month.
Okay.
Because I actually know the owner there. I know his sister. His sister used to work. Columbus so small. His sister used to work with me at Everest.
Okay.
Cool people. But yeah, as far as setting it apart, not really. I guess set apart, but just have give people more choices.
Okay.
I see myself getting. Also having some of his crowd come to mind. His is Thursdays, man's is Wednesdays. Right. And his is only once a month. There's another spot across town that is also Wednesdays, but it has a whole different type of vibe. Mm-hmm. And I remember reaching out, Scott Woods, shout out to Scott Woods, just because I've been in this game so long, just out of mad respect. I actually hit him up before I started this, like, hey, I'm letting you know I'm looking at doing a Wednesday. How you feel about, because I got mad respect for that, bro.
No, that's fucking lovely.
And he was like, you know what, man, I'm by OSU, you're all the way on the east side on gender. Yeah. And I, coming from Cleveland, there were times that there was tension where somebody was doing a spot on the same night. but they had different, totally different clientele because they're in different parts of the city.
Right.
And out of convenience, maybe some people are going to one, some people going to the other. So he brought up that point. He was like, you know, people that come to mind, they usually live over here. They're over here. So I'm sure you'll catch that clientele.
Right.
And then when the Nest kind of went away, I saw a need for it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'll give the people that are probably already going to the Pelican Room, I'll give them another option. And then maybe, because that's downtown. But then I feel like I'm giving options to the folks who don't want to go all the way downtown.
Yeah.
And on the east side.
Which is how I was like, hey,
yeah, right there
down the street.
That right.
Look at me.
You'd be surprised how many people.
On a Wednesday. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was surprising how many people came there. I was like, yeah, I live around the corner. I'm like, well, this is why I did this.
Yeah.
Because I'm 7 minutes. I live in Reynoldsburg.
Yeah.
So I'm just 7 minutes away.
Look at us, neighbors.
Yeah, right.
So you go do your thing and then come back and it's not super, super late.
Exactly.
So I'm going to keep it real, though. I had fun.
Right.
And I went home and had some more fun.
See?
And then woke up this morning like, why in the hell did I think it would be acceptable to go out on a Wednesday? I gotta gear up for a party like we're talking about going to a silent party down in wherever it is tomorrow. Is it Scully's or Chisholm or something else?
Oh, it's Chisholm?
I think it's at Chisholm on Friday.
Oh, is it right?
I think
it's at Scully's.
I'm not sure, but anyway, like I gotta like give myself like, all right, come on, like you can do this.
Right.
Like, we leave it at this time. You know, get your stuff ready, get your outfit together. Think about what because my exits normally are around about 12. If you talk about a party that's going later than 12, I'm like, it better really be a good time.
Yeah.
Like who's gonna be there?
And back in the day, we used to leave out at 11.
Right.
You know,
right. Like I was never on time for free before 11. Because I gotta pay $10.
You didn't care about that.
My pregame turn up was real. Yeah, no, it's not happening that same way. So I appreciate it being like, you know, early enough that it's like I can get home, take care of what I need to take care of, but you know, at the same time I can get out.
And that's our thing.
And get back home.
Doors open at 7. You get in there, we get our sign-up sheet. We want to starting at 8.
Right.
Out of there by 10.
Yeah.
You know, because I've been to spots where I got to be at work at 7 and I'm in a spot at 11 and I'm like, oh man, I'm loving what I hear, but I'm so tired. Right.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see more spoken word. I think that's the thing that I really love. I love R&B. I love you know that spirit, that music. I just feel like people are real. But I will tell you this, sir. You surprised the shit out of me last night.
And how's that?
Because what I knew of you was the Love Her type of poetry. Was like, oh, dear future wife. Y'all are not familiar. He writes all about dear future wife, things that he's looking for in a spouse, and things that he's prepared to give to her, and all these things. So I've been falling in love with you on Facebook. Like, oh my god, oh my god, I want my boyfriend to say that. Or I was like, babe, look at yours. You ain't never said that. Like, and then last night was a different twist because you had your other book that you published before that was literally y'all titled Moist, and so it proceeds to go into.
Tell me more.
So check out the videos. I
ain't even bought it. Available on Amazon. $12. Well, this is a book of 33 raunchy, filthy. I wouldn't say filthy. Yeah, sexy.
Nasty,
erotic.
but erotic. That's a good word. Erotic makes it sound nasty, but in a sexy, I love you, value you kind of way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Responsible.
It's very.
There you go.
It's very much like I appreciate every curve, every crease, every inch of your skin. Something that makes you like feel good and sexy and nasty all at the same time. Like, man, come on, like I got the let's go at home. Like that was how it was, and it surprised me because that's not what I knew of you, and I was like, oh well.
See, well, I used to do a lot of those pieces down at the Nest.
I missed all of those apparently because I promise you I was. What did he say?
And ironically, that's what I was known for in Cleveland. Although it's funny, I have hundreds of poems, but I have 33 nasty ones. And so I would get on stage, dude, I'm trying to be philosophical and revolutionary, and the black kid got shot. Dude, my lips hurt. I'm like, okay. Right. So, and you know, this book came about like I was explaining last night. I wrote this book 20 years ago. 98. I got out of a long-term relationship because I was never a promiscuous dude, and so this was my release. I'm gonna write some nasty poems, so I will kind of force myself not to be a hoe. So I'm gonna write some raunchy stuff,
what, 24?
and so that's what I did. Yeah, and I put them all together as a book around about 2005.
Okay.
And now it's on Amazon. You can go George Lee Jr. If you put in George Lee Jr. Moist, it'll come up for you. There you go. Yeah, Moist. I've actually thought about changing that name, but I'm like,
you know what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So,
wow. People have their thoughts on that word in general, but go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say if we were gonna get to here, you bought the book.
Oh yeah.
Might as well.
I'll do a piece.
Go ahead.
All right, well, I'll do my lips hurt.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Bruises from the rope burn that you inflicted upon my skin. Epidermis breathes hot like a thermos from the cream that I left within. If I touch it, she will moan. If I lick it, she will scream. If I kiss it, mwah, she just might come. So much sex that I left her numb from all of the ground I left behind, from recent editions of her indecent positions, because damn, my lips hurt. They hurt from making you 3 hours moist into an oblivious ocean. There was no need for lotion when I discovered that you were only 3 pints away from the Great Lakes. My mistake for leaving the faucet on, kinda leaky, but still drippy enough to drown out the noise of this squeaky bed, because just when I think that you finish, you diminish my assumption and you scream again. Father, forgive me, for I have sinned. Under the influence of juice and gin, as I begin to stab your skin with my pen, as the ink travels around to your hips and then down to your lips, writing poetry that we will never have a chance to read, because as of right now, we are distracted by each other's need to lick each other's souls out of their sockets. I like to watch you bleed your pleasure out of my pores, because damn, my lips hurt and they're chapped from constantly kissing that ass that I've slapped into a crimson-colored mound of abused flesh. Confused, yes, because I don't know whether or not you're coming or you're going. And now you tell me that it's time for dessert, sugar. I don't know if I can keep up because my lips hurt. There you go. And that point was actually inspired by an interlude. I got to give credit where credit is due, from the Janet Jackson album Velvet Rope. She has a little "My Lips Hurt" where she just says "My lips hurt." I'm like, that's a good title.
That's dope, right?
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
and then it turned into.
Turn it that.
It's all that.
Well, you look a little back, Jessica. What's going on with that? You're like, I did not.
Heard in my ears.
See, right.
That was so beautiful. I never said nothing like that to me. I hope your lips hurt.
There you go. There you go.
That's great.
That's what's up.
Now has the response been with that one as opposed to Dear Future? Was it Dear Future?
Dear Future Wife?
Yeah.
What's funny? Well, Moist. When I first, I moved to Columbus and I re-released it in 2015. The response immediately was overwhelming. Honestly, this book, Moist and Love Her, a lot of people don't know. It actually was like my part-time job and kind of saved me financially, because I got laid off. I went through a divorce and then a layoff. Well, a layoff and then a divorce. So the end of 14 and 15 was just, and it was those books that actually helped me to get along until I got on my feet.
Gotcha.
So phenomenal. Dear Future Wife, slow start. I'm still building up. I do pre-sales here and there, but not as much of a good of a response as Lover. Lover is probably the most successful out of all of them.
Okay.
And that's the relationship book. That's also available on Amazon under George Lee Jr. I actually ironically started writing that book when I was still married, and then I finished it after the separation. And yeah, just what inspired that, basically, I worked in a lot of colleges and just seeing a lot of young relationships and just tripping at how much the dynamic has changed since I was in high school and since I was first in college. Like, wow. And I don't like to pin men's dysfunctions totally on the fact that there's a lot of absent dads, but I feel that is a part of it. There's a lot of reasoning for that. I was fortunate enough to have a dad in the house, and I was blessed enough to see examples in front of me every day of what you should do. So I thought to draw on that and compose it in a book. And my father actually never sat down with me and said, this is what you're supposed to. He just showed me every day. So I just drew from that and put it down in chapters. Letter of communication, the letter of honesty, the letter of devotion, the letter of parenthood. I felt like it was my way of giving back to those that did not have an example.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And actually, to speak on that point, as you're talking about giving back, you also do work with kids, with boys.
Yes, and I want to shout out my man Brian. This dude. If there was one single person that's had an impact on me, I'll say creatively since I've moved here, would be Brian Rogers. Shout out to that dude. What he's doing is not known enough. He does the Distinguished Gentleman, the Her brand, Grown Man Seeds, and I was wearing a shirt last night, as a matter of fact, that I bought. But he had me guest speak at one of his sessions, and I fell in love with it. I already love kids. I taught for a little bit. I'm going back into teaching.
You wanted to be poor.
See,
your talent continue to take care of your bills.
Right. Because look, I'm poor now, so hey. My thing is, hey, you might as well do something you love, and I love kids, and I want to use my art degree. But he had me guest speak at one of his sessions, and we talked about chivalry, self-accountability, self-respect, and it was just a blessing. And we were talking, and he was like, well, you could do this by yourself too. I'm like, yeah, I can. Mm-hmm. So I'm hopefully I got a session coming this Saturday. Hopefully, as long as I get reservations, they pay, me ahead of time, and then we have the reservations for the seats on Saturday. So hopefully that goes well. But yeah, that's something I'm definitely looking forward into going in more deeper, because we got our youth. I mean, I know it's cliche, but our youth are our greatest investments. Yeah, it really. I mean, the return on that is phenomenal if you put in what you're supposed to put in. Yeah. So
it definitely does. Yeah, you're definitely right about that.
But that's on my Facebook page. That's From Boys to Men. I'm trying to do it once a month, so it's just going to my event page, From Boys to Men, reserving your spot. Payment is due actually by tomorrow for this Saturday session. So hopefully that'll be a monthly.
And what are some of the things that you highlight?
Oh yeah, chivalry, self-respect, self-accountability, because I feel like a lot of our teen boys especially don't have enough of that. Just as far as taking responsibility for what they're doing, and also just looking at things for the long run. They don't seem to realize that a lot of things they're doing now affects them, and that the tone is set for the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. Yeah. And most especially drawn from my book Lover, just talking about chivalry. Because honestly, a lot of them don't know what to do because they haven't seen it. Right. So just opening doors for women, just simple stuff, just stuff like that that's being lost. Yeah. That I kind of want to instill in our youth. And I sometimes feel, especially before I got engaged and moved in with my fiance, when it was just me and my son, I felt like he's getting all of this knowledge, but I owe this to other boys. He's getting it all, but that's fine. And I'm glad I'm doing my job as a dad, but this needs to extend out beyond him.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm here with it. Yeah.
What's the age on that?
5 to 17.
Okay.
Yep. And what I try to do, because it's such a wide age range, I try to format the topics to fit all of them. Right. Okay. So I don't get too mature, but I'm not too juvenile. Right. To where I remember when I spoke at Brian's session, the 5-year-olds were just as engaged as the 17 or 18-year-old that was there. Yeah, because they're all universal. Right. I mean, you can teach a 5-year-old about chivalry just as much as you can teach a 17-year-old about chivalry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're never too young to open a door for a woman.
Never too young. I have my son do it all the time. I have my son do it all the time.
Yes.
Too, just get a position, simple excuse me, or yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am, you're being talked to. Those things make a huge difference. And I'm from the South, so I grew up.
Man.
I grew up with that.
That was your culture.
Tell me.
I lived in Atlanta for 5 years. It seemed like every dude down there was, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. Yeah. I'm like, wow, this is wow.
Yeah, that's one good thing that you can say that you can claim from the South, because I feel the same way when I moved up here and people didn't speak to each other, didn't smile, just walk like if you walking down the sidewalk and people don't speak, like the fuck, you see me? Like you just naturally lift your head up and just acknowledge. You don't gotta know that person. You don't gotta have a long drawn out conversation. Just smile. Or what's up? How's your day going? And you keep it moving.
Brighten somebody's day. A little bit.
You do that here, boy.
What you say?
You gotta say that first. No, nigga,
and I didn't know how to take. When I first moved to Atlanta, literally the first week I'm down there, I'm like, hi? Like, I don't know you.
Right.
I'm like, are you serious? Like, just waving at you for no reason. starting up convos with no ulterior motive. I'm like, wow, I can get used to this.
And as a female, I have to be super careful because if I say hello or if I even just like look at you in your eyeball, that now means I want your phone number. Please follow me to my car and find out all this, that, and the third. And when I tell you, no, I'm taken. Thank you so much.
You know what comes to
so you can have friends?
Right.
No, nigga, no.
And then you call it
stuck up ass. Like, am I?
But she was trying to holler at me.
Sexy.
Exactly.
It's funny how
we know the drill.
That's awesome, though. Sorry.
I was gonna say, you all right, Tiff? You good?
Right. It happens frequently. It's frustrating.
Right. Just for the second time, just make sure that go ahead and post.
Shout out.
State where everybody can get the books again.
Yes, sir.
And how you can be reached and followed.
Yes.
Stuff as well.
So Amazon.com. We're talking Lover. We're talking Moist on Amazon.com. That's George Lee Jr. As far as Dear Future Wife, hit me up. You can hit me up on my Instagram, Mr. Lee, MRLEE _1973, or Twitter at Echo73, Facebook, George Lee Jr. That's what's up. YouTube. YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. It's just George Lee Jr. Me and my fiance and I were doing videos talking about relationships and taking questions on Facebook Live. So we're going to start that up again.
Yeah,
so we've actually I posted a couple of those on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
George Lee Jr.
Are the books on sale at the event?
Well, I don't have any physical copies, but I'll hopefully get some printed soon. But you can get them on Amazon.
Okay.
The Moist, the one that you seem to like, you can get that.
Clearly, you
right. The one that you're clearly asking about. Right. And actually, I'll actually have more copies of Dear Future Wife printed out, hopefully available, because so the next night, 24th, Wednesday, Spectators Lounge, 3550 Gender Road, Wordplay Wednesdays. Doors open at 7, 8 to 10. I may have more books next month. Dear Future Wife.
Okay.
So that's what's up.
All right.
I'll be buying
Jess,
that one.
Real quick, what's popping this weekend? I know we didn't get a chance to get into it real heavy, but go ahead and knock them out.
Well, tonight you can hit up B Square for Where's the Ox.
Oh, yeah, that is tonight.
No that is tonight. And I just feel like enough people don't pull up. They want to perform.
Right.
But I mean,
that's not what it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally.
But you still get your music played, right?
Yeah, you literally go pull up and perform.
So what exactly is the show? Where's the? I mean, like what?
You know what? Hold on, let me get.
So what do you do? So you just
I wasn't.
So like you just pull up and give them like your flash or something, and they play your music.
Yeah.
And so then people who haven't heard it.
Yeah, it's at 1205 North High Street from 10 to 2. So you still got time to get dressed.
It's 2 Truths.
Is that 2 Truths?
Yes.
Yes.
Because it's the old Candy Cane. Because my girl owns that spot.
Yeah. Oh, the Candy Cane.
Well, it's not Candy Cane or Candy Cane.
It used to be the Candy Cane.
But now it's 2 Truths, which is super dope.
Sounds suspect.
Candy Cane is also super dope, and you should follow me on the east side to Candy Cane because it's a good time. Yes.
I know. We keep talking about this. Okay.
We should do that.
And we're back.
So, sorry about our own.
Tomorrow night, which is Friday, you need to be at the silent party because I'll be there. B Square is going to be the DJ, one of the DJs. I'm going to be.
Do you know the other two?
I'm sure Damo is going to be there again, but I don't know who the other one is.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
I'm like 90% Damo's going to be there. So it's Damo, Square, and somebody else.
If Swamp's there or Square's there, I'm there. That's all that matters.
Okay.
Layton's going to be hosting. Funny Man Braze.
It's going to be big. It's a lot of 90.
I'm so excited about this one because it's Afro. It's Afro.
Yes.
And Latin music and
trap.
And then hip and trap. Okay. Those are the 3 kinds of music. Have you heard about this silent party thing? Oh, we're going to talk about this after.
That's what's up.
We got to talk about what this is. It's so fun.
It's really exciting. This Saturday, if you know the right people, you'll be at the Blatant Party.
You said
the Blue House. So that means you need the RSVP.
Let's get it.
You know who's going to be there, DJ and DJ swmpthing.
Rocking it out.
So that is at 10 p.m. Before that, if you need something to do, Drake and Paint. Shout out to the Drake and Paint. Yes. So that is my homegirl tomorrow. She's going to be doing that. And I went to her Trap and Paint. It was dope. It was everything. So Drake and Paint, super exciting. The best thing I will say about her paint experiences are you don't have to sit and follow someone. They're not like, take this stroke,
do this, right.
bring it to the right. She gives
do.
you get options of the boards.
That's
Every
good.
board is different. You get to color in. It's real like chill, relax, laid back. There's shots. There's free food. There's free drinks. You should be there.
No doubt.
That's all I have to report for this weekend.
All right, I'll do the last one because I have it right here in front of me. And we're going out tomorrow. Shout out VA Visions. We're headed out to Springfield tomorrow for the hip hop pit stop. We're gonna be rocking with a few artists, man. John Sprees, Jay Smitty, D Knight, Little Scooby, the homie in the building right now. Mr. Wise Nice and VA Visions in the building. Jordan. So we're gonna do that at Springfield. Tickets are still available. Just go to my page or go to VA Visions page and click the link and get those tickets. Or you can just pull up at the door and get your tickets that way. It's at a location called Everyday Edibles. So it's a food joint, so you can also come and eat and enjoy some dope music, man. So you don't want to miss that. Come and pull up and support Columbus. I know she shared edibles and that was it.
Right, she was like, "This is my kind of store," and then I was intrigued. Like, but what else do they sell?
But really quick, let me say one more thing though.
So
George said word.
Right? Don't stop. But y'all want to make sure also on Wednesday, Funny Bone, Funny Man Braves.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be performing with Toya Turn Up.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all support him. This is his first time performing here in a while, so
no doubt.
That's Wednesday.
No doubt.
You got something until next Thursday until we tell you what to do again.
Right. So you got plenty of stuff to do, man. Make sure. And the reason why we do that, just for those who, just to let you know, too, George, is just to let everybody know, there's so much stuff to go out here and support.
Yes.
There's no reason to. I mean, I understand there's bigger things to do and grown up stuff to do, but there's so many locals here who are very, very talented.
Yes.
And it means a lot. We were talking about support earlier.
We were just talking about that last night, how some people, there's nothing to do here. Are you serious?
I have to decide every weekend.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Which of my friends am I going to support?
Right.
And which am I going to let down?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like, but B, I seen you online.
Right. But I was busy.
I said I was going to go to that thing too. Sorry.
Now see, Tiffany did say she was going to hit me up and try to come out there to where you are.
Yeah.
But it would have been too far.
It's all good.
I ain't gonna lie. But I wound up going. But I will get there. I was just being
It's all good.
I was being funny. But we wound up I wound up at the Avalon. I don't know if you know or familiar with a young man named Bobby Couch.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's more of a designer.
Okay.
And he's developing something called, you've heard of Wildin' Out, right?
Yeah.
So he's got Styling Out. So it's basically the same concept. He had the tees with shirts, with colors, and the Styling Out on it and everything. Okay. Yeah, so that's, I don't know if he's going to do it every Wednesday of every month, but I know this happened to particularly be done last night, but I know he's going to be doing it every month. So I think it's going to grow as well as I know your event will grow.
Yeah. One more time, 3550 Gender Road.
Talk about it.
3550 Gender Road. Spectators Lounge. Every other Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the 24th.
Dang, there you go.
Doors open at 7. 8 o'clock, we get it going. We out that time.
There you go.
Say word.
Say word. We got about 2 more minutes. Tiffany, you want to say something? I know a lot of discussions. Wound up talking about them, but I know there's something I think you definitely want to bring up.
Well, I know. The 4th annual philanthropic concert is going down. Title versus Brooklyn concert is Lil Wayne, Lauryn Hill, Meek Mill, a lot of others, and they always raise money for a particular cause. That's where all the proceeds go to. And this year, the money raised is going to criminal justice reform and education on that. So I'm excited to hear about that because, of course, with people like Meek Mill, and if you followed any pieces of that story and how badly he was treated and what the circumstances were, and just if you're a Black person living in real America right now, you already know the criminal justice situation is fucked up, and we're losing so many Black men and Black children and Black women for countless BS reasons, whether they're being locked up and gone forever, or we're talking about like gone forever and shot and killed.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can start putting some more people where they need to be, whether that's out of jail because their crimes are small and petty, and we're talking about drug charges, or if we're talking about, just wrongfully accused or wrongfully imprisoned, or, for long periods of time, any of that situation, or killed, and getting their actual murderers behind bars as they should be. On that note, Sean King talked about this morning on the, it's not The Breakfast Club, because the other show that I watch, it doesn't matter. The morning show, Sean King came on and he was talking about how Tamir Rice's the police officer who killed Tamir Rice, and he was supposed to, I guess before he even came to Cleveland, where he got the position where he ended up killing Tamir Rice, he had already gotten fired from a previous police station, and it said on his report by the supervisor that he should never work in law enforcement ever again. And how that got bypassed and then he got into Cleveland is beyond us. And so he got and so then they were talking about how instead of Cleveland having to quote unquote fire him, he went ahead and resigned. Like suddenly that's a gift to us. But it happened because Tamir Rice's mother was so adamant and so strong, and and she kept on top of it, and she got everybody involved, and so everybody was calling and making phone calls to congressmen and you know, different law officials and all of that stuff. And so like he said all of that to say, even though it feels like sometimes we go through so much and nothing is happening and nobody cares about what's going on and nothing changes and voting is bullshit and all that, there are some things that are getting done. Now, should it have happened before Tamir Rice's life was taken? Absolutely. But in hindsight and what we can do about it now is to continue to make sure that those names are forever powerful. We continue to remember them so that we can continue to try to pursue putting those people who did these things behind bars so that the George Zimmermans are not continuing to go free.
Absolutely. Right. Great ending. Great ending.
Thank you.
First annual WTMH. Sorry, Tiffany. Just want to make sure I got this out. WTMH Radio Music Awards, Saturday, November 10th. You can still vote for Breaking Ground Radio as the best radio show. So just go to WTMHmusicawards.com nominations / categories. It usually pulls right up, and we're like 5 or 6 polls down. Scroll down, just hit Breaking Ground Radio, man, and shout out to all the other shows that are nominated with us. But yeah, just go ahead and put your circle on Breaking Ground.
And then I appreciate the rest.
That's nice. Boom.
We know if you voted for us, they're not anonymous.
Right. You gotta put your the pressure. Make sure you follow the new Instagram page, Breaking Ground Radio. Make sure you follow and like Breaking Ground Radio on Facebook. You follow SWMPTHINDJ on Instagram. And ladies.
And mine is Tiffany L, TIFFANYEL on Facebook, and it is TIELCO on Instagram.
You can find me at Jessica Walls on Facebook and Jess_do_it_90 on Instagram.
Shout out to Shamir. Shout out to George. We'll see y'all next week. Peace and blessings. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Good night.